My name is Rahael. I had a stroke when I was 22, and I now work as an ethnicity and stroke project lead with Different Strokes. Well, the VAS, Black and Asian Stroke Survivor Project, was started in 2021. And that's after Different Strokes came across the statistics which show that if you're Black or South Asian, you're at a higher risk of stroke and more likely to have one when you're younger. And Different Strokes realised that only 4% of their beneficiaries identified with either of those ethnicities. So they realised that there was a problem and they had to work hard to find different ways to reach out, connect and support Black and Asian survivors within our charity. I think maybe just don't give up, just keep going. It is really hard, but yeah, you just have to keep going. I think that's something Different Strokes was created for, the fact that stroke can happen to anyone at any age, and you can be as young as a newborn baby, or it happens to everyone. So I think, yeah, that's probably one of the most misconceptions. Oh, and that no two strokes are the same, because they all happen in very different parts of our brain, and in fact different cognitive and physical functions. It's a bit negative, but grief. Yeah, which is just sort of an infinite cycle that never ends, unfortunately, and I feel I'm still in that. I don't feel I've overcome the event and I've been able to move on from it. It's really important for everyone to know that a stroke can happen to anyone at any age. And you should just be aware that it can affect everyone and that it can happen at any side of the brain, which affects a very different side. I mean, because some people often say, oh, my nan had a stroke also and she lost her memory, or she couldn't walk and she's fine now. And I think it's different because people recover at different times, and it's not the same at all. And I guess, yeah, that's Different Strokes. They're all very different. Family. Everyone's just so lovely and so encouraging and amazing to each other. I think my colleagues, even though I work from home, which is sometimes isolating because you can't be with everyone in the office and interact. We meet once a week for a team meeting every Tuesday, and I really like seeing everyone's face and having a laugh or just joking about with each other. Yeah, it's a really lovely team. I guess like most people after work, just being with their family afterwards, cooking a meal, watching TV. I don't know if you've heard of the author called Matt Haig. He's been really open about his depression, and that wasn't related to a stroke, but he's just sort of talked a lot about the experience, and I really like following him on social media because he's very raw and open about what he's feeling. That really helps me to know that I'm not alone. And so he wrote a book called Reasons to Stay Alive. But I really liked another one of his books. It's more for teenagers and young adults, but it's called The Midnight Library, and it's really lovely. It's about how a girl who commits suicide. Sorry for the very dark, maybe I should say trigger warning. So trigger warning, it's a book about a girl who kills herself, and then in the afterlife she comes across a library where it's a library of all the lives she could have lived. and done all the things she wanted to do and how her life could have ended up. So she sort of goes through each of the events, and I guess in the end, you know, I don't know, I won't spoil the end, but I think it's a lovely book. I've read a lot of other books that I really like, Matt Haig especially. I already mentioned grief, and grief is, I think, for everyone that experiences grief in their own way, it's something that never ends. And yeah, it's something everyone's going to have to face at some point in their lives, even if it's at the very end of their lives or at the very beginning. And unfortunately, for me, it's been a cycle. And so if you know the 5 stages of grief, it starts with denial, bargaining, anger, depression, and acceptance. And for me, it's just sort of been the spinning wheel of, there's some weeks where I'm in acceptance and I'm really happy and I can move on from the fact that this has happened to me. And then the next week, I find I'm in denial again, just being like, it didn't happen, I'm fine, it's all okay. And it's just a really exhausting cycle to live through. But I think if survivors are grieving over the fact that this has happened to them, I think it's just important to know that you're not alone.
We're Different Strokes, a charity supporting working age and younger stroke survivors across the UK. Don't forget to like and give us a follow to see more videos like this.